Greetings and welcome back, everyone, to Into the Nexus, the Heroes of the Storm podcast. I'm Garrett Weinzerl, and I am joined, as always, by Mr. Kyle. What's your last name? Oh, Ferguson. Yes, Kyle Ferguson is here, and he is as Fergie as ever.
That's true. Well, Fergie, I don't know about that. Lately, my name, thanks to the singer and the town, has not had the best connotations.
No, it hasn't. I wouldn't say Fergie is lately.
Well, that's true.
I haven't heard anything about Queen of My Hump in a long time.
It's more of a, like, every 5 years we have a resurgence. Ferguson Explains It All had to grow up with that. That was a little rough.
You mean Clarissa Explains It All, and Ferguson was the brother?
Right, but there were those parts of the show where it switched to the brother's point of view. You know what I mean.
Yeah, that was super rare, though. I watched the crap out of all those early Nick shows, so I'm aware, sir, that Ferguson Explains It All was a very rare occurrence.
I dropped off somewhere along where that show with the girl who could turn into water happened.
Oh, the something about Alex Mack. I remember that show. That was a bad show. It was a very bad show.
Media's gotten pretty good. Maybe not children's entertainment. It's still about the same level, but and lots of wonderful shows like Korra keep having trouble with their networks. But luckily, TV is now becoming a great place because it has to compete with the internet.
Yep. Eat it, TV. I'm not beholden to your crappy program schedule anymore, just like I'm not beholden to whatever video game my parents happened to get me for Christmas. Actually,
That's true.
My parents were really good about it. It was the extended family that would always pick up things like, I don't remember, but they were all terrible and non-memorable games.
Well, at least they tried, Were they at least for the console you owned?
There was definitely more than one occasion where it was like... Probably the thing that threw people off the most was I actually had a Game Gear, and a lot of people didn't even know that thing existed. So it was a lot of Game Boy games, and I'd be like, well, thank you. And then Mom would like silently just be like, it's okay, Garrett, we'll take it to Target tomorrow, we'll return it, we'll get you whatever you want for the Game Gear. It's okay, don't say anything.
Dude, Game Gear was badass. I had one as well.
Yeah, it was badass if you had an outlet of any sort around you. If you had to go on battery power, I hope you had a game you could beat in about 45 minutes because that thing sucked through 6 AA batteries faster than you could beat Sonic the Hedgehog. So
oh yeah, it was madness. I mean, my Game Boy, my giant brick, it was decked out with like the rechargeable battery and the magnifying glass, but they didn't make nice things for the Game Gear. And even the backlight, while it was amazing for its time, I still remember constructing forts in my living room so I could play midday in the New Mexican sun.
Oh, that is very true. The good old days of portable gaming. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We are here to talk about PC gaming. We're here to talk about Heroes of the Storm, and there's a lot to talk about this week, so let's get into it.
We're on, boys! Ha ha! Let's liven up this place!
Point me to the stage.
Stay a while and listen.
And I will listen. I will listen to Miss Jaina Proudmore because Kyle, she's in the game and I'm so excited.
Yes, she's being advertised as someone who loves peace. I thought she was like about to go full psycho on us. But
that's a current a current happening in the World of Warcraft lore. The old Jaina was the pragmatic peacekeeper, the studious mage. The one who walked away from Martha saying, I don't know who you are anymore. I don't remember the exact quote.
I disagree. I'm making points. I make a political stance here, and that's who we got in this game, though I look forward to the corrupt Jaina skin.
Yes, that was my one thing when I got him. I'm like, oh, I want, rogue hair with the white streak. Come on, give me white streak Jaina. And there is no white streak Jaina hair to be found at all in the game. No skin. No purchase skin, no master skin has it, but that's hardly the interesting part about Jaina being added to the game.
Sure, if we're going to talk about uninteresting parts, let's mention that a lot of characters are still nodding their heads when they talk, and she looks fantastic in the mini screen.
Yeah, she absolutely does. Let's talk about her kit, man, because I had a chance to play Jaina at BlizzCon. I don't know. I don't ask why. Everyone's like, why aren't you excited about Thrall, man? I'm excited about Thrall. But for whatever reason, I've always dug Jaina. I like Jaina. I like anyone who's from the original cast of interesting people from Warcraft 3. And specifically, whoever was involved or ancillary to Arthas, I was probably interested in that character. I like Uther, I like Arthas, I like Jaina. So I rushed to play Jaina at BlizzCon, and I really enjoyed her so much, in fact, that I plopped down to $10 as soon as she was available.
Well, I'm sitting on 10,000 gold right now, and I was hopeful for all the wrong reasons. Every time a new character's come out recently, it's been that 15,000. So I missed out playing her directly. Tried her out in the try mode. Certainly had a lot of Jainas chasing me this week, as well as Jainas dying horribly around me.
Yeah, man. Jaina is squishy. She's real squishy. Yeah. She, you made an analogy today while we were playing with our buddy Ben that she kind of feels Nova-like without the cloak. And her slow, her passive trait, Frostbite, is kind of her way to get away or escape.
Yeah, she doesn't really have a lockdown, but the slow is just really intense. You can spec into it up to 35%, so you can chase. There's a number of times where playing as Diablo by yourself in the lane is never a fun thing to do. But trying to get after a Jaina is one of the more regrettable situations I've ever been in.
Yeah, she can absolutely kite. If you are a melee hero trying to go after Jaina in a one-on-one, yeah, you could probably kill her if she wasn't kiting you all the way back to her own core.
But should you get a hold of her, and if it's ever a situation where it's more than one-on-one, you are probably having a rough time.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I'm really digging her. I've definitely I've been confused by the stats I've been seeing because I feel like I am completely owning face, but then I look at the stats and there's actually not a ton of damage done. So
yeah,
I'm
not
curious.
sure if that's kind of a effective healing sort of problem where she is so focused and her spells are almost entirely saved for heroes at the moment. And people are still experimenting with builds. Like, very rarely do I see someone run in lane and drop a blizzard on some buildings or a big group of creeps. Mostly they're saving those spells for actually snagging a hero. So maybe that's what's keeping those numbers low.
Yeah, that's probably true. I mean, the damage counted, is that against creeps too? I thought it was only against heroes.
It is only against heroes. I'm just saying that frivolous casting with Jaina at the moment isn't really a thing.
No,
Whereas Nova, 100%, if you are not going to kill somebody, you still give it your all. And you pop out a cloak and you take them down 2/3 and you walk away. I'm seeing Novas dance around a lot more and waiting for maybe kill hits.
You mean
more
Jaina?
than Yes.
Yeah. No, I've been playing her the same way because she doesn't have a hard escape mechanism. Obviously, like we said, she can kite. I definitely have noticed that I have a very hard time against other ranged damage dealers. Nova actually is giving me the hardest time of any of the heroes so far that I've noticed while playing as Jaina, because I feel like if a Nova kind of sets her sight on me, I'm more or less doomed because Jaina has very little health. But it can be, if you catch a Nova out, it's the same thing. Like I've really punished some Novas who weren't paying attention to where I was. But it's a game of cat and mouse. But I've been enjoying her, man.
I'm a little surprised by her opening damage or just basic attacks. I was expecting something in the realm of maybe a Brightwing with just little pillows launched, but she's actually pretty decent. She's a full-on assassin, and her spells are about doing damage as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Her white damage is nothing to scoff at. You shouldn't just sit there and let her wail on you. Let's talk about her kit. Her Q ability is Frostbolt. It fires a bolt in a straight a straight line. You get the straight line targeting reticule. Actually, before this, we'll probably talk about her. Explain her trait a little more. It's called Frostbite, and any of Jaina's abilities, when you land them on a target, it chills them and it slows them while also causing them to take increased damage. So every single one of these abilities we're about to talk about, Q, W, E, and even ultimates. Keep that in mind. Every one of these things you land slows and increases the damage taken on your target. It's wonderful. It's so wonderful.
It makes perfect sense in the secondary ability, Blizzard, where you have 2 waves of ice coming down, slam the first one, and then slam the second one. They're already chilled, does bonus damage. So if you really want to maximize things, you run in, launch a basic attack, and then fire your Frostbolt.
Well, a basic attack doesn't apply Frostbite. It's only abilities that cost mana. You can spec into a talent.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, there's a talent you can spec into that allows your white damage to apply the frostbite debuff. But no, I've found that opening up with Blizzard in the early game is the best way to ramp up your damage with Jaina. So, like you said, it hits twice, so that the first one hits, it slows them. They're probably going to get hit by the second one, taking increased damage, and then you can close in on them, Cone of Cold, Frostbolt, and you've just done a big spiky amount of damage while also slowing them down. And if someone else is in lane with you, they're hopefully targeting your target, and that person is now dead. But it depends. Anyway, so let's talk about Blizzard. It's the W ability. Like we said, it's a circular radius. It starts off at a pretty moderate size. Again, you can spec into your Blizzard to make the radius much larger. Again, and its cast range is pretty moderate, and you can also spec into that to make that a very long cast range. Once you get in with Jaina at level 1, those are the talents you'll notice. Pretty much all of the talents that modify Blizzard are in the top half of the talents, so those are the ones I was playing around with the most when I first got Jaina. Because for whatever reason, the other talents that were available didn't look as enticing. And I just love Blizzard, man. At some point, you can even upgrade Blizzard to where it hits 3 times, and that just seems to suck when you get caught in it.
It's a pretty tough decision at level 1. They just buffed Conjurer's Pursuit, which we'll get into later. Increasing the duration of your chill, increasing the amount of the slow of the chill, the range of Frostbolt. I mean, quite a few. Anything with range can be extremely surprising against someone like Avala, who happens to be, thinking she's auto-attacking you from a safe distance, and all of a sudden your Barbarian goes launching at her with increased range on the spear. So you run in, you Blizzard, you throw down, you get some chill on them, and then you try to set up that angle for that first Frostbolt.
Absolutely.
Because it does hit the first thing it goes to.
Yeah, including creeps, so you got to be careful.
I think of everything, I'm a little confused by Cone of Cold at the moment, because it's just not as cool as Blizzard.
No, it's not, but it's still really good whenever anything gets stacked up. Obviously, if you're going in and you're fighting knights, you're using this. I was playing with a lot of Witch Doctors today because Witch Doctor is in the free-to-play rotation at the moment, and he is, right? Or were we just getting unlucky with Witch Doctors?
No. We had a lot of bad Witch Doctors today.
But I had some good ones as well, and I was getting a lot of cases where with Witch Doctors and other heroes on the team that we were grouping up, 2 or 3 people, and Cone of Cold's great because it hits them all if you line it up correctly.
Okay.
So, and I mean, it's another 40 damage. It's another thing that applies chill. It's going to do even more damage if your targets are already chilled. So she can deal a lot of damage to multiple targets and slow them all. And I don't know. I really like her in team fights because she tends to throw a monkey wrench in everyone's movement plans.
Most certainly. I mean, trying to close on people, and she's already ranged, so it's a tough deal. I think the thing that's most impressed me about her is her mana regen in the first place. And
I don't find myself at low mana a lot. You can even spec into a build that increases your mana regeneration. I haven't tried it yet because I haven't really felt the need.
Right, and that's something that I wanted to see your perspective on, because of course in the try mode, I'm a little up. I think they need to turn off Malfurion or give the option to, because he's just blowing your mind. Maybe it's a sales pitch. And the whole time you're in there, you're like, my God, I have infinite regen, infinite, interface. Like, I'm the best thing on earth. And Arthas is always a level behind, and he's stupid as hell. And he's dying every 5 seconds. You're like, well, all right, let's buy this up. But I ended up taking the Arcane Intellect talent, which is where I got confused. Auto attacks now chill. But it also, basic attacks return mana on top of that. And then there's a lot you can do down the way to keep that mana flowing in. And in comparison with someone like Kerrigan at the moment, where you basically run out, you do your combo and retreat, Jaina feels like she has a lot of sustain.
Yeah. No, she does. Not on her health, but on mana. It's
right. Yeah, your health gets low. You have no abilities to help you heal.
Right. Even Nova, can regen health in Cloak if you spec correctly, right?
Yeah, the closest thing that Jaina gets is improved ice block. which makes you invulnerable for 3 seconds. But anything, I mean, you can sprint. Sprint is a healing ability if you run to a fountain.
Yeah, because at level 13, why would you overlook Icy Veins or Stormfront when you could take sprint?
Right, exactly. One of the great things about her entire talent build is just how much love they put into even the neutral towns. I mean, we've had Ice Block before.
Right.
On characters like Witch Doctor. But they made it so when it expires, nearby enemies are chilled. And just including things like Frostbitten, Ice Lance, Icy Veins, just working in as many WoW Frost references as they can is just a delight.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's totally hitting exactly the chord I was wanting it to hit. She feels like a Frost Mage fell out of World of Warcraft. A powerful Frost Mage.
Well, and it gives you that relation to the character rather than some of the more dramatic abilities we see in the semi-cutscenes through WoW. When a character, someone actually, like, you're fighting with Thrall and he bloodlust, you're like, yeah, all right, I know that ability.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, fun thing is I know when I talked about my experience with her on at BlizzCon, I was singing Water Elemental's praises. Again, when you start at level 1, you won't have access to summon Water Elemental, but they make you take Ring of Frost. And honestly, I really like Ring of Frost now. You saw today that it really swung some fights. Yeah,
so explain it to me. You throw down the ring, the area effect, and then it spreads in increments?
Yeah, no, not really. I don't think so. It has a delay. You'll see the graphic, and you do have a second or two to get out of there, but then the whole area is now a damage and a root. And it's there for a whole 3 seconds.
Okay, cool. So my confusion is the level 20 augmentation Cold Snap, which makes it so there are multiple sort of graphic rings on the actual spell that go down. And on the normal spell, it just all explodes. But on the level 20 augmentation, the inner ring explodes a second time.
Oh, okay, cool. I haven't spec'd in the Cold Snap yet, so...
Well, that's because Bolt of the Storm is amazing.
It is.
And you can never get away from anything, and giving her a short-range teleport to pursue and get away is just... I mean, coming from Dota with the teleport dagger, the blink dagger, you gotta not be hit for a couple seconds to be able to teleport. And this thing... It doesn't matter.
Do you remember when they gave that shit to Pudge? Remember when that happened?
It seemed like a long time coming. Basically, if you're playing a game with a Pudge, just never relax, I guess.
I'm still mad about that.
Yeah.
Anyways, both her heroics are really fun. I love Water Elemental as well, and the level 20 augment that makes him now also use all of your main abilities at 50% reduced damage and 50% reduced casting range. But it's still applying chill. It's still doing damage. It's awesome. I still love Water Elemental, but I really don't think I gave Ring of Frost the proper billing after trying her at a BlizzCon. So. Enjoy it. She's a lot of fun at level 1. I had no issues being locked out. I was like, whatever. This Blizzard build is kind of fun. So,
the Water Elemental surprised me a little bit that it's actually controllable, and you can retarget, and it actually just sits there if you don't target anything.
Oh, it does?
Yeah. When you cast it,
that was the case at BlizzCon.
Your level 4 ability, your level 10 ability button turns into a target button, and then you can then redirect it, much like the Tychus drill laser.
Oh, I didn't know that.
If there's things around, he just keeps attacking. But if you summon him in lane when a dumb computer Arthas is dead, he just kind of sits there. If there's nothing to attack in the area, and you need to actively get him moving.
That's cool that you can actually do that. I was not aware of that.
Yeah.
I've been playing nothing but Ring of Frost since I bought her, and I only tried Water Elemental at BlizzCon, so I didn't really have not a conducive learning environment at BlizzCon.
Sure. Well, and the style of game right now is very much the tanks run in, everyone kind of piles up, and we just don't have a lot of extremely serious burst area attacks. So it'll be interesting to see how people spread out as Jaina and other heroes like her, like Thrall, with his Earthquake come in.
Yeah, absolutely. They both have these abilities that it's going to be. I mean, we've talked about them before. Abilities like Tyranda's Starfall. It's zone control, and it's something that when you're playing against that hero, and or in the case of Tyrande, if she takes that heroic, but anytime you're playing against these heroes, you have to keep that in the back of your head. You have to be careful of where you're standing. You have to be mindful of choke points. And right now, I have noticed people are not in the pub games I've been getting in. There's been so many instances where I've landed just disgusting Rings of Frosts on 3 or 4 people who are all, all these opponents, they're all jumbled around trying to defend the wall that we're pushing. But they're all standing on top of each other right by the wall. I'm like, all right, Ring of Frost. If I miss, I hit the wall and do some damage and break it down. If I don't, I kill a bunch of you. And generally, I get some. So
adding that awareness to people's repertoire is going to be really interesting. Come down the line, the various heroes that do things like, what if 2 heroes are standing right next to each other and it gets stunned? The stun translates to the other guy or locks them together somehow.
Yeah, absolutely. But you want to talk a little bit about they did another kind of Q&A. Trickslayer was asking designer Kent Eric about designing Jaina, and there were a couple things here you wanted to mention that you really enjoyed. Trickslayer asked Kent Eric about. He said that Jaina has been a part of Warcraft history for some time now. Bringing her into the Nexus had to be a fun and exciting task. What goals did the design hope to accomplish in doing so? And Kent Eric said we wanted Jaina to represent the epitome of frost mages in World of Warcraft. Well, congratulations, sir, you succeeded. He also went on to say that one of the coolest things about frost mages is their ability to freeze opponents and then get free critical hits against frozen targets. With that moment in mind, we created her trait, Frostbite. Jaina's spells chill enemies, and using abilities on chilled enemies do bonus damage. And I love this. I'm so glad that they paid such close attention to how frost mages play in World of Warcraft when designing Jaina, because they totally nailed it. And as a WoW player myself, I don't know, it brings a lot more to the game for me.
Yeah, if you had the fire mage and he didn't do damage over time after hitting you with a fireball, you'd be upset.
Yeah, exactly. Kel'Thas.
No one really wants an arcane mage. I need to stop making these statements. I got in a lot of trouble the other week.
You damn right you did.
Talking about toads.
You're talking about your damn opinions like they're facts, Kyle. Jeez.
I know.
How dare you? How dare you on a show that is pretty much 100% opinion? Give us your opinion.
It's disgusting.
It is. It's totally gross. But
I need to be reprimanded.
But you also wanted to talk about how they came up with Icy Veins. What did you like about what Ken Eric had to say about that?
So this was all focusing on various builds, and it seems like they didn't so much leave it to the community to find out this time. They actually said, okay, basically everyone falls in love with a single spell. Let's, across the talents, give everyone a way to augment those. And they did a really good job with this with Asmodan. Because if you're really into demonic warriors, here's a bunch of talents. By the end, your demonic warriors are pretty badass. Or if you love tossing that basketball, go for it. I'm a big laser man. That's what I always take, and I can't see any other light to it. I just really like how they were, like, some people are going to Frostbolt, some people are going to Blizzard, other people are really going to be into this Cone of Cold. And doing the Icy Veins allowed that to happen by having your basic attacks increase the cooldown and decrease the mana cost of any of the abilities, making it this core thing, reducing all the cooldowns across the way, so you can just spam your favorite.
Yeah. Yeah, I like Icy Veins a lot. I'm going to be hard-pressed to kind of break myself of talenting into it. It's really become a quick favorite of mine. So
well, and with the infinite mana to an extent at the moment, it feels like the preferred thing right now. Ice Block, sure, that is we are behind. I am not hunting down anybody. The cast range of Blizzard, I think those two are a pretty tough, level 13 choice if you're in a bind. It's a sprint too. Like, oh my God, like that's 3 abilities that are going to kind of keep you safe. I love though at level 16 that her Cone of Cold, you can choose between it rooting the target for 1 second, which is just great, or giving vulnerability for another 25% extra damage.
Yeah. No, I mean, and honestly, there's very few talents that I look at with Jaina's build and think, I don't know why this is here. I'll never pick it. Like,
yeah,
maybe sprint, but an argument can be made for sprint. I'm sure there's going to be a scenario where I just need to live more, and this is going to help me live more.
Right, well, and Sprint might be your perfect choice if you're not a fan of Bolt of the Storm. Maybe that extra button's a bit too much for your level of play at the moment. Or eventually we may find
Sprint's
that...
an extra button.
That's true.
Just
yeah,
need to add that in there. It is also an extra button.
Maybe you only want one extra button, and you're going to make your choice at level 13.
Gotcha. But I feel like they're learning. Jaina really feels like, I don't know, I feel like I'm looking at a culmination of all the lessons learned in designing heroes so far in Heroes of the Storm.
Very much, and it's really cool to see this progression. I love that looking forward to Thrall, they took his Ghost Wolf ability or summoning wolves and basically said, well, we don't want him to be a unit summoner, but let's make this a line attack that does some control. And I think that's a great way to augment these things, still keep the flavor, and I'm excited to see how other heroes kind of work into this way. I still want, Vol'jin as the elemental shaman.
Yeah, even though now he's a priest card in Hearthstone, I'm so confused.
Oh, he's a priest?
He is the new priest legendary in Goblins versus Gnomes.
I've been watching them putting out a lot of cards that don't have goblins or gnomes on them.
Would you want 120?
No, I wouldn't.
No one would, and I...
And if I were to express my opinion early on, I was like, I don't know, that doesn't sound so cool. And then I just keep seeing all these badass cards.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, this is nothing what I expected.
Yeah, that's a rabbit hole you don't want to send me down right now. I have so much to say about that.
Let's
Let's talk about something I kind of don't want to talk about, but we have to talk about it anyway. Stim packs.
All right.
I'm gonna try and stay on the horse as long as I can. So Stim packs are they already in the shop? I honestly haven't looked.
There is a tab for them. They have their complete own tab, much like bundles and heroes and skins. So we can make that assumption immediately that there are going to be more than one kind of Stim pack.
Okay. Gotcha. So they're not in yet. We don't know how much they cost.
Nope, but it is a tab available soon to come.
All right. So for the fine people out there who haven't been keeping up, let's explain what Stim packs are. I'm just going to read directly from the post. They said Stim packs are going to be coming soon. Once they arrive, they'll be purchasable to earn gold and experience points from heroes matches. Now, you'll be saying to yourself, Kyle, wait a minute. I already earn gold and experience points from heroes matches.
Yes, yes, I am.
Play along here, Kyle.
Okay, yes.
So Kyle, why do I need a Stim pack?
Well, you could get a Stim pack so you can have additional time where you get 100% extra XP and 100% and 150% extra gold.
All right. So I'm paying for an item that increases my out of game currency.
Yes.
All right. And they don't have any effect in game. You're not leveling faster. You're not hitting harder. Nothing like this is happening?
Nope. So you are going to buy one. It is going to say that you now have some amount of hours based on the Stim pack that you have now purchased. So 5 hours of game time. You have a game that goes 45 minutes. That's 45 minutes off of your 5 hours. But when you get out of the game, you are then going to receive that amount more gold and more XP for your hero and your actual account overall.
All right. I'm officially off the horse.
All right.
Can you, Kyle, explain to me why this isn't the most egregious, disgusting thing you've ever heard of in gaming?
It is a well-established practice across the various free-to-play MMOs.
You mean MOBAs?
MOBAs.
Okay.
Battle arenas.
All right. Now, this is one of many reasons why I'm not a huge fan of League of Legends.
Sure.
And yes, I'm aware, before you send in your hate mail, that Dota 2 has similar things to this.
Right, it does.
But in Dota 2, I don't have to buy heroes.
No, you don't have to buy any of the heroes, and you usually get their version of Stim packs when you buy a different item. And then it gives bonus XP to everybody in the party, everyone in the whole game, in fact, people on the other team as well. And it is only when you increase in level, overall account level, and there is no hero levels, that you then unlock a guaranteed items. Sometimes you just find an item because you played the game. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Other times you get one guaranteed every time you increase your account level. So because somebody across on the other side is Mr. Moneybags, you're actually having a better time.
Ah, okay. Well, now I hate stim packs even more. Thanks, Kyle.
I'm sorry. That didn't work out so well.
You're great at defending stim packs.
So the first thing I think of when I see this is, okay, so Blizzard's got to monetize. They have some systems, and clearly what we want from a monetization system in a game like this is to be shown things that we want to spend money on. To see skins like Tychus, his infested skin, and go, oh my God, I have to. That's incredible. Or even the new Christmassy. The only reason I wouldn't get it is because Christmas, it's, 2 months a year, really? When we're celebrating it after Christmas, you're going to be a little weird. Kerrigan, in her bat costume, and Skeletor, those are still kind of cute. Moving on, whatever. Everyone loves Halloween forever.
I will play Skeletor and Skeletor until the end of days. I would also play Skeletor if they got some cross promotion going, but
Rudolph Rhaegar come July is going to be a little awkward for me. Though I give them props for making the water elemental a snowman for Jaina's.
I'm glad someone. I wasn't sure when that was going to come up, and it had to come up on this episode. Yes, the snowman is amazing. That's all I've heard on Twitter this week. No one's excited about Jaina. Everyone is excited about Jaina's snowman.
Yeah, well, it's cute,
That's all anyone's been talking about. They heard about snowballs. Jaina. Everyone, I made a tweet about buying Jaina. The first reply I got was, "Did you get the Christmas skin? How about that snowman elemental?" I'm like, "No, but it's awesome. It's awesome." So this is.
So that aside, let's think about Hearthstone, because we're not going to bring up GVG. All right, it's going to be okay.
All right.
The monetization of Hearthstone is insane, in my opinion. The idea that I would pay real money to unlock a possibility of how many cards right now to suddenly get, and I only get 5 of them.
In the base set, there's over 300 cards.
And there could be absolute crap and nothing that I ever wanted.
Yep.
This is only good and only works because this is an established branding.
Yep.
We've done it with Pokemon cards. I spent $1 billion trying to get a Charizard, all of my allowance, never got one. I have 1,000 mucks. Who needs those mucks? I can't dust them. I could find some kid online to sell on eBay back in 2003. No one's gonna buy those.
All right.
And so now with Magic and everything else, Hearthstone has taken that model and given us that extra bonus of dust.
Yeah, that's how I always defend. I always defend Hearthstone, because folks are just like, "Oh, it's rare. It's not. It's pay to win and blah blah blah." I'm like, well, not technically. You can't technically get all the cards without having ever spent a cent. And also, it's infinitely more free to play than any actual card game in the history forever. Because good luck getting free cards for any card game whatsoever without committing theft. So
that being said, if you're picking your nose and taking forever in a real game, I can poke you literally in the face and say, get moving.
That is very true. Please don't do that. That's very rude.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll try.
But, I mean, you kind of bring up a point that I think works with my argument against stim packs, which is I don't think we can... Hearthstone was not designed in a bubble. Hearthstone was obviously designed with existing card games in mind.
Yes.
And they built around it, from everything from mechanics to their monetization. Heroes should also not be developed in a bubble, and obviously it's not necessarily being like it. It just, for whatever reason, the more of this stuff, the more of this, I don't know, in my eyes, needless monetization that it is added to the game, it pushes it more towards what I believe to be the subpar MOBAs versus what I believe to be the cream of the crop, which is Dota 2.
Right, and we see these things in League of Legends, and they don't feel as bad there because that game developed in a time when free-to-play was rather new. Mm-hmm. And those options felt very fresh in a game that was completely just given out in other terms. Nowadays, there's a lot of free-to-play games to compare to, and we have a lot of opinions on the fact.
Yeah,
Stim packs, ultimately, this isn't going to matter to you or me. Like,
no.
If I don't buy these or you don't buy these, who cares? Like, my level progression bonus would be useless. Like, some amount of my money spent on a stim pack is worthless because I'm already level 40. Do I want to get to a hero level really quick? Maybe I'll untalent all my heroes super quickly, but why can't I just pay some money up front to get untalent across the entire thing, to like buy the game in a sense?
Yeah. I mean, again, it's for me, I agree with you. It's not going to affect me. I'm probably not going to buy these. And I'm going to keep enjoying the hell out of Heroes of the Storm because it's a really fun, very well-made game. It's just that this type of I'm used to with Blizzard, at the very least. Not feeling like they're doing things, or at least getting the impression that they're not doing things 100% for the money. Or if there is money involved, that I am getting something that I personally believe is valuable. I don't consider this valuable. I consider this really like a step away from shitty iPhone games.
Sure. The thing is, it just doesn't affect us. Like, if we choose not to buy it, and Blizzard has those chances to monetize. I mean, look at the boost in World of Warcraft right now. You can make all the arguments you want that that's money grabbing, or perhaps, you would never buy it, but someone out there does. And there's people who find their time valuable enough and frankly make enough money on the side that they view video game time as so valuable that they want to increase that value in their limited amount of play.
Yeah. That's a good argument. I wasn't that mad about the boost. I wasn't really mad about the boost at all. I was like, oh, no. Thank God. I have to go through Burning Crusade one more time, I'll kill myself.
Well, yeah, that was great for me because I always wanted a Death Knight, and now I've got one, and I'm having a great time in the expansion.
Right. And you know what it did is it added a perceived extra value to buying a copy of the expansion because you got a boost.
Exactly.
None of this existed before, and it's all that's exactly what it is perceived value. But
right. Well, and I need that thing for me to be $60 so that when I have a character that I choose to level up, I feel like I saved that money, or perhaps that my character is worth that amount. I mean, in no way does it actually cost $60 for a dude to hit a button, if they even do, if it's not automated.
Right. And this is all getting a bit off topic, but
sure.
Yeah, I don't know. At the end of the day, there's just something about stim packs that leave a bad taste in my mouth. But whatever, I'll get over it.
It'll matter to me a lot if the math comes out and we are seeing some really strange things. And in that case, I will be upset. And the math could be perfectly on and I'm supposed to be upset. And that's how they monetize this. For me, that would be, I look at stim packs and I think, okay, I don't want to spend any real money. But there's a character that just came out like Jaina, who, it costs $10 to get, or 15,000 gold. What if to get my 10,000 gold,
15,000?
Well, no, I'm saying I have 10,000 right now. But what if by making 10,000 with a stim pack, I had 15,000? Well, then all of a sudden, when that's the math, I mean, 150%, I would have enough to get Jaina at the price that I think she should be at by spending like $2. Oh no.
So is that the thing you're talking about that will drive you insane if you have to sit there doing math to figure out if it's more cost effective to buy a stim pack, grind the gold, and then buy the hero rather than just buying the hero at for flat money? Yes, and I agree. That's round 2 of what makes me furious about this type of stuff in video games. So,
yeah, it's the old RPG question of, do you want 10% extra mana? Or do you want to generate 10% extra mana passively? And you're like, what? Just give me mana.
At the end of the day, I really have one question regarding this to you, Kyle. Does this make the game more fun?
Oh, wow. That is an excellent academic question. And to some who do not want to take the time to unlock these things, yes, because they have limited time. For me, who kind of is aware that this game is going to last me a very long time, no.
All right. Fair enough.
That's the same thing in Hearthstone. Like, I don't feel like I have to have every card. I got every card for the hunter deck that I want, and I went, you know what? I'm not going to make this the kind of deck that people win with. I'll just wait for more cards to come out, and then I can make the kind of deck I want, so I'll just wait.
All right. Fair enough. Well, I want to kill it with fire, but let's move on.
Sure. It's cute that it's named Stim Packs.
Oh, it's adorable. Kill it with fire. Kill it now. We got a huge alpha patch with Jaina being added to the game.
Yes, surprisingly.
There were tons of art improvements. There were tons of things out of the shop. There were improvements on just all kinds of things. We're not going to talk about that because we honestly don't have enough time.
Yeah, and frankly, you can look at it yourself. The well looks real pretty.
Oh, yeah. Man, that well. I want to take a dip in that well, man.
They should put one of those little civilians just chilling in the well.
They should just put a Stim pack dealer in the well while they're at it.
Why not? Real money purchases in-game. Advertisements on the sides.
But let's get into what changed in the gameplay. Battlegrounds are first up, and they had some general changes. The Hearthstone, a flat amount of health and mana are now restored after using Hearthstone to return to the Hall of Storms. That's new. That's interesting. I didn't even notice this.
Yeah, so it used to be the regen percent was the same for everyone. You teleported back, you barely survived, you had 10 health. You then had to wait around for that to fill up. Now it is a flat amount of health. If you are a dude with tons of health, you get less health. If you're a person with little health, you can get a lot of health and get right back out there. This helps people like Jaina, who might be teleporting back every time they take a single hit, or Nova. And someone like Diablo, who is out there for a long-ass time, doesn't worry about mana so much, teleports back because he barely survived, has to sit in the hole for a little bit.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm down with that.
Sure.
I think I like that. Also, town halls no longer contain all of the town's all of a town's experience points. While town halls retain a majority of the experience, the surrounding towers protecting the town now yield experience as well. I love this change.
Sure, and for those who aren't in the alpha at the moment, they're referring to towns and town halls as the forts, and that's what the announcers are announcing, fort destroyed and all that sort of thing. A choice they made early on in design was to make towns. Instead of just a single tower sitting there, there's the town hall, there's a wall, there's little bracket walls, there's two other towers, there's one tower back behind that, and so there's this little community of things you need to destroy. And before, particularly in maps like Dragonshire and Garden of Terror, you would run in, smash the only thing that gave you XP, the fort, and then run to the next fort in another lane.
Right, exactly. And now you're getting XP for every little thing. Granted, the town hall is still going to give you the biggest boost, but I like this. It gives a little more, I don't know, importance to all of the surrounding structures. Now, I don't think the bracket walls are going to be giving you experience.
No, and the wall still doesn't put out anything, but your towers in front with the wall do. And that's a big deal for people like Murky, Asmodan, people who are going to Zagara, even if you choose to do that sort of build against buildings. They're up in the lane. They take out the wall, the front towers. The ice bolting fortress is too much for them, so they don't quite get to. They get the well, but the game has gone on, and Cursed Hollow's going off with tributes, and they are useless up there. Now, by doing those things, they're actually contributing. So it's a buff all around for anyone who destroys buildings.
Yeah, no, it's really good, and I'm glad you brought that up because it does make speccing into Siege or Siege is a talent, but kind of speccing yourself to be a Siege-like hero just in general about pushing lanes and taking down towers actually helpful. Because before, it really, like you said, if you didn't take down the town hall itself, you really weren't contributing to the game. Now, granted, it's great to take a couple of the cannons out, but it doesn't have a huge effect on the game. Cursed Hollow had one change. The tribute channeling time has been reduced by 1 whole second. It was 7 seconds. It's now 6 seconds. So you can grab the tribute a little quicker. What do you think about this change, Kyle? Because I like it because I feel like we have had some truly absurd fights around the first tribute because respawn times are so short.
And that's where this really matters. I mean, if people are dead, an extra second late in the game isn't going to help anybody. This is really to fix that early game madness. And, we used to be like, it was almost done, or, it was almost just done. Now that almost done becomes almost just done, and it'll feel about the same, really.
Right, exactly. Dragonshire, the Dragon Knight is no longer targetable by allied abilities or talents.
So this is a bit of a bummer for Asmodan players like me who enjoy taking Demonic Smite on their summonable Warlord. He would then, throw out a little smite of about 800 damage at the nearest neutral kind of lane target, which happened to also be Dragon Knights.
To damage them? Because this is only talking about allies.
Right. So
you're saying you're using them to damage the Dragon Knight?
No, so the summoned warlord would do a spell on his own that I spec'd into, and it could hit the Dragon Knight. Also, things like the Knights, now called Bruisers for some reason. I don't know why. Emergency Thrusters come to mind. Thanks, guys. You love renaming things in the StarCraft department, so good on you. The Bruisers, the mage in the back would shoot off his little, arcane bolts, and those can no longer target the Dragon Knight.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying by that. Talents and abilities.
Gotcha. Okay. And also, heroes with a permanent cloak will now properly decloak when exiting the Dragon Knight.
Thank goodness.
Yes. Thank you. 1,000,000 times thank you.
Because nothing was worse than not only could he teleport out once he was done, but Zeratul just being invisible after pushing everyone back. So
yeah, it's one of the most infuriating things in the game. That's wonderful.
That being said, it is always cool to find that one person who is perfect to ride things. And at the moment, Murky. I mean, 100% put Murky in the rideable avatar and let him go.
Yeah. Speaking of which, what is? Could you explain this Garden of Terror change? What does this mean?
Queen's Curse?
No,
it
just says Garden Terror summoned.
Oh, it's the ability of him once he's summoned.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. So Spore Queen's Curse is okay. I see. I get it now.
Because also the thing that drops the seeds, the Golem is a Garden Terror, but yours is a summoned Garden Terror.
Okay. I'm like, what do you mean it's summoned? Oh, it was just a model. They were explaining which Garden Terror it was. Gotcha. So the change to the Garden Terror is the Spore Queen's Curse, the Q ability. Its radius has been decreased by 10%.
Which feels like a huge buff, because you're always just standing on the edge of it when you turn into a plant.
Agreed. Another change I'm totally down with. And also, just like the Dragon Knight, permanent cloak, you're going to decloak when you exit the Garden Terror. So deal with it, Zeratul and Nova, you jerks. And then finally, Haunted Mines got some changes. The underground minions' starting health and health scaling has been increased by 20%, which I totally noticed today when I ran down there as as Jaina, and I'm like, oh yeah, I've got all this AoE, I'm gonna blow these guys up, and I'm like, oh crap, they're still alive.
Well, also in Jaina, you feel every hit they do to you.
Yeah. Oh yes, you do. Also, the underground grave golem has had its starting health and health scaling increased by 20% as well. And the summoned grave golem has had its damage scaling decreased by 20% and its health scaling decreased by 20%. I'm sure they're kind of reacting to the collective opinion that Haunted Mines is a little absurd with the snowballing if you get a good grave golem.
Right. I'm a little surprised to not see a change to either how the Knights, now Bruisers, in the middle react at the same time to the Grave Golem. I mean, with Dragonshire, with Guard of Terror, unless someone is actively engaging them, which is its own sort of buggy, perhaps problem in its own, the Merc camps completely disappear. So right now, Haunted Mines, you run down, you get all the skulls, you run upstairs, and if you're the winning team in the mines, you are most likely the winning team who gets the Bruisers, used to be Knights, and gets that extra push.
You're right. You're right. So that they don't disappear on Haunted Mines, but they do on Garden Terror. I wonder why that is.
I love the Giants the way they are.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great, it's a good strategy. It's like, we need to get the Giants. There's a big ass Grave Golem coming. Don't cap it yet. And if there's an AI Nova, someone hack the game and turn on friendly fire so we can kill her.
Listen to last episode.
Yep. Call back. It's okay. I like all these changes.
Yep.
I really like all of these changes. This is all making me like forgive Stim packs a little more. I'm like, you know what? Whatever. The game's getting so much better. I will overlook this cash grab.
Oh yeah, and you know what's really interesting is the damage scaling on Grave Golem now puts it at about equal to how a mule actually scales up as well. So you can almost entirely defend against a Grave Golem with a mule.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah,
that's
like
nuts.
If you have a core, like we did this last night, down to 3%, and a single Abathur with his mule got it all the way back up to 100 by the time of the next Haunted Mines.
Wow. Okay.
Arthas with 25 deaths threw that away though, so thank you, dude. You didn't pick Resurgence either. Ruined that game. Such a great comeback.
We had a really good comeback today that we didn't win. Remember?
That was all
Unhaunted
us, though,
Minds.
you know?
Unhaunted Minds, man.
Yeah, the Kerrigan was thrown away. The Witch Doctor, he hated toads, like me, but didn't embrace their awesomeness in game.
In Heroes of the Storm. Yeah. That's moving on. Let's talk about the neutral talent changes. Buffs, Conjurer's Pursuit, which you said earlier, Kyle, we would get to, and here we are getting to it. It now also increases mana regeneration by 0.5 per second in addition to its other effects.
Yes.
So real quick, what are the other effects on Conjurer's Pursuit? Increases mana regeneration, blah, blah. Every 3 regeneration globes gathered grants an extra 0.25 mana per second permanently.
So it takes every single wave that goes out. There's a single wizard in that group of lane minions. You kill him, he drops the orb. You pick it up. You now have 1 charge of the 3 you need to get 0.25% more mana per second. And so in 3 waves, if you haven't been blocked out in any way, you have now gathered up a 0.25% mana increase. The problem was, of course, that Conjurer's Pursuit you would never, ever take on somewhere like Blackheart's Bay where you're not in lane to get those orbs in the first place. But that also made it insanely powerful in places like Garden of Terror, where the actual Garden Terrors out in the world, hitting them, drop the globes, and then you can pick them up. So you'd have more globes than other maps. Now this is just a great pick at level 1. It's immediately usable. You don't have to wait for, that'd be 6 lanes to push, and you got all the orbs in order to get up to that 0.5. You just start with it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I feel like at least, do you ever, this and the health equivalent of it that some of the tanks have, I feel like these are unpopular talents, but I mean, obviously we haven't seen any stats, but I'm assuming if they're being changed that they're not being picked as often.
I pick it a lot, but it's so much work getting to that first 0.5. And that's really, I mean, 0.5 per second. That's a lot. And that's what kind of pushes you up over that edge of being completely out of mana on someone like Tassadar or Malfurion as well. All
right. Imposing Presence, its attack speed slow amount has been increased from 30 to 50%. Anyone that has this talent and specs into it, anyone that attacks you has their attack speed slowed now by an entire 50%, which is actually a decent amount. There's 8 heroes it's available to, and they're all warriors except for... Oh, sorry, they're not all warriors. We have Asmodan in there, who's not a warrior, and we have Uther in there, who's not a warrior.
Right, but big fat people who, I mean, Uther and Asmodan don't have any escape mechanics other than just walking away. So it's a decent thing. You know, you're not affecting anyone's speed. It's only their attack speed. Sure, it's great on someone like Diablo. I prefer his other choices. For the most part, I mean, this is a level 17 talent, and you've got some awesome choices at level 17. So this needed a buff. And, well, frankly, I took it. It's hard to know what it performed as at this point.
Right. It's hard to see it's hard to see its effect. It's not like you're going to see numbers at the end of the game that really show how much has helped.
Yeah, I mean, maybe someday we'll have StarCraft level graphs and we can see, like, look, I took that talent. I'm the tank. I was always in front. And look at their just decline in DPS because of targeting me. That was great.
No, and that's also because that game has, open API and there's all kinds of tools available, and this game does not. But that's discussion for another day. Let's talk about what neutral talents got nerfed. Promote now heals the target to full health. It now has a 15-second duration, and the charge cooldowns have been reduced from 60 to 30 seconds. So this is where you basically buff a minion in your lane.
This is pretty funny because I didn't expect this to get nerfed at all, but it was totally OP, and it was the flavor of the week. Past 2 weeks, in fact. Basically, since we did our last show, I've been having a lot of fun with people in the chat room, and we got together and made a group of everyone that could take promote and took it. Everyone had promote. So everyone was giving lane minions 300% health, 300% damage. We were also doing like Zagara for Infest and Asmodan for his demon thing, but basically all around it was promote. And you had to target a unit with full health because it only increased 1% of it. So if you target someone with almost no health, they got the bigger health pool, but their 10 health left turned into 30, big deal.
Yeah.
But it gave us so much map control. And if you're thinking it takes you 5 auto attacks to kill, a single minion as like Brightwing, and now all of a sudden that's increased by 300%, like you're taking forever to kill a single archer. And we just had complete lane dominance. And the second the catapults came off, every single one of them was buffed. And it was absolutely insane. And I was loving every second of it. It was a giggle fest. And now it's gone. And this nerf also includes Zagara and Asmodean's versions of these.
Oh, that's sad.
So they clearly saw a problem with it. It now increases it to full health. It's a 15-second duration. You're not going to be sitting back in base, target that, catapult as it leaves the base as Abathur, and then let it go and enjoy the entire run.
Way to go and ruin it for all of us, Kyle. It's your fault. I blame you. Thank you.
It was my statistical giggle fits that was sending this into the dumpster. I apologize, everybody.
Yep, and I'd like to blame literally everybody else, myself included, for this next nerf. Resurgence of the Storm. The cooldown has been increased from 120 seconds to a whopping 180 seconds. I saw this coming. I'm not surprised.
Sure.
Resurgence
2 minutes, 3 minutes.
Resurgence is the just snap pick for anyone who can get it.
Yep.
So freaking good.
I mean, unless you are so absolutely confident that you are about to win, it's a no-brainer. So we'll see. I mean, I think a single resurgence is probably all you're going to need to take the game back at the moment. I would expect more nerfs down the road. Yeah.
Rewind was reworked because that's a good headline. Also, it now refreshes all basic ability cooldowns rather than reducing them by 10 seconds, and the cooldown has been increased from 60 to 90, which I think makes sense considering what it does now.
Right, and this is now working on a number of heroes, but has been taken away from people like Nova and people like Anubarak.
Oh, okay.
So it basically was taken away from people that, one, were gaining too much of a benefit from it, and two, they made it rewind only reduce it by 10 seconds, so those heroes who had rewind wouldn't be completely overpowered. Now they've taken it away from those guys and just reset everything for everyone else.
All right. Well, I like that. I'm definitely happy that it's gone from Nova. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, the cooldown feels real long, of course. I mean, an extra 30 seconds on there. I really enjoyed it on Nazeeba Witch Doctor. But, now it's... now I might be taking something else.
Yeah, which I think is okay. If you're giving the spotlight to some other talents and not making this the one everyone has to take, and it's not a required talent, I'm all for that. That being said, I really never felt like it was an issue on Anubarak, but I don't know. Maybe it's because I like playing him and I like winning. So,
well, on Anubarak, the issue was just the stun locking, and also think of the dive. Like, I loved it on him. Because we talked about in the past, diving in, it was a death sentence. Rewind, dive out.
That's a really good point.
Double shields. Thousands of scarabs. Everyone's having a great time.
everyone who's named Anubarak and on his team.
Exactly. So this is still on... Kerrigan and Falstad are about the scariest thing this is still sitting on. And that's not exactly saying too much.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, let's talk about the hero changes. Let's start with who got buffed. First up is Abathur. His Toxic Nest, his W ability, and the has been augmented. Well, the Vile Nest talent for Toxic Nest has been changed. The slow duration has been increased from 2 to 4 seconds, and the slow amount has been reduced from 50 to 40%. So you're going to move a little faster, but you're going to be slowed longer.
Yep. This happened actually pretty far across the board. They seem to be getting rid of some, major burst talents in general and replacing it with something that just plain lasts longer.
I'm down with that. I like that.
They also made a change where it now depends on how long you're in Ultimate Evolution to start the cooldown on it. So it used to be, if you were a total badass and you lasted the entire time of your Ultimate Evolution as Abathur, when you were done, it was almost ready to go again. Now, you die in 5 seconds, it's the same cooldown as if you died in 30.
That really feels like the way it should have always worked.
Yeah, I agree.
Because that's Ultimate Evolution can be so freaking strong.
Well, and it's not like your body is still pooping out locusts in some lane. Like, you actually dug in the ground, teleported to your new area, and became that dude. So there really was no reason.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a good point.
So Illidan's basically the same thing. He had his immolation talent. The duration of it's been increased. The damage has been decreased.
Okay. So it lasts one whole more second, but the damage has been reduced by 5? By 5.
It's actually, it goes from, it used to be...
Sorry, by 4.
It used to be 52 damage over 3 seconds, and now it's 52 damage over 4 seconds. So the math is exactly the same.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. All right, it just lasts longer.
Yep. Again, helping those healers, and there are, now as assassins and supports kind of dwindle, and we have all these crazy new heroes, those supports are going to be rised up again now because they have that extra second to get in there and do something.
Yeah. Now, Muradin had some different changes. His second wind, which is his trait, the threshold for improved health regeneration was increased from 30 to 40% health. His third wind talent is the threshold for improved health regeneration was increased from 40 to 50, which makes sense since the previous one was 30 to 40. And the stone formed talent went from the heal amount was increased from 40 to 50% of Muradin's health. So it's a big heal.
Yeah, in general, Muradin is a great hero if you don't enjoy going back to heal ever.
Well, I don't.
His tanking ability is basically the same. I mean, nothing here is really affected other than getting a heal when you make that giant transformation.
Yeah.
But otherwise, you get out of a fight for your 3 seconds, and you are back in the fight in a couple less.
Yeah, that's one of the main reasons I like Zagara so much is rapid regeneration. I'm just like, I know these other talents are sexy too, but this is just, the sustain is obscene.
Well, and like rapid regeneration is the perfect pick if you go the Maw. Otherwise, you don't pick that because you can just teleport back and forth to the base all day long.
Oh, absolutely. Correct. And honestly, I love Maw right now. Anyway, we're not talking about that. We're talking about Sonya next, whose whirlwind has been changed. The life steal amount has been increased from 30 to 40%. They can't seem to get life steal where they want on Sonya.
It definitely feels more powerful, though.
Yes.
As we were experiencing this afternoon.
That Sonya was very hard to kill.
Yes.
I was unhappy with that Sonya. She was not being nice.
Well, mentally, warriors right now are in a bizarre place because they make no sense. Like, you are 2 levels ahead, you are a god. You're stomping around, you're smashing everybody, you feel like you're doing infinite damage, and no one can kill you. You're 2 levels behind, you're the squishiest thing on earth. I'm not going to engage that, you do something about it.
Yeah, but it's not all glitz and glamour for Sonya, though. Her leap was nerfed a bit. The cooldown has been increased by an entire 20 seconds from 50 to 70. So you won't be going as often or as frequently. So,
which is a buff to Wrath of the Berserker, maybe? I guess they just don't want people leaping that much.
Maybe, yeah, I don't know. I like Wrath of the Berserker, man. You can have that thing up so often. It's ridiculous.
I mean, if something is below a minute cooldown, I just assume it's available every fight. So this change has now made it more situational.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good point because you see it happen and then you re-engage her into like, wait, guys, Sonya doesn't have leap. Just collapse on her. She can't get away, or
Well, and a good Zeratul using his Void Prison, it sucks every single fight. You feel like that thing's going out.
Yeah.
But it's got a cooldown, I can guarantee you.
Yep.
I don't care what it is.
No, I don't either. Let's talk about the nerfs. Anubarak, we talked a little bit about already, but but he did get imposing presence. That's now added to him, so people can have their attack speed slowed when they attack him if he talents into it. Rewind is gone. We talked about that. Hardened Carapace, the shield amount was reduced from 120 plus 30 per level to 90 plus 22 per level. That's a pretty big nerf.
Which strikes me as bizarre.
Yeah, me too. I didn't feel like I was having much issue getting through his shield.
I certainly didn't feel invincible as a Nubarak.
Yeah, and playing as him, I never felt that. But this is one of those things where...
Yeah.
It's one of those things where I feel like there must be stats on Blizzard End that we are not seeing, and we're just reacting to our own personal games, which...
Right. There are such amazing talent choices. In particular, I mean, just doing a line stun and augmenting that in any way possible is incredible. So all the shield talents just kind of seem lackluster to me. Maybe they're trying to encourage those. But frankly, I've never said, oh, thank goodness, I popped my shield. I did it, guys. Everybody's safe for now and forever.
Yeah, no, that's not at all what's happening. And then Locust Swarm, his heroic. I did a show about Overwatch this morning. We're talking about ultimates. Why can't you just call them ultimates here and save us all a lot of trouble, Blizzard?
It's supposed to be your unionizing game, Blizzard. Just keep it consistent.
Yeah, let's just do it. Locust Swarm, the heal per tick has been reduced from 10 plus 2 per level to 10 plus 1.5 per level, so not as big of a nerf as Hardened Carapace got, but a nerf nonetheless. But
you're not going to feel this at level 10, but down the road you will be taking, less heals, which is interesting. Are they encouraging you to do the Web Blast? Because Web Blast is frankly situational.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think this is enough to deter me from taking Locust Swarm. I think it's a really strong heroic.
Yeah.
I mean, Web Blast is too. I feel like Web Blast, I kind of use it the same way I do Sindragosa. If I'm in a pre-made, I'm talking to everyone, and we can coordinate correctly. I'll tend to favor Sindragosa on Arthas, and I do like Web Blast if I can coordinate, because I'm like, hey guys, I'm going to take this guy out. Don't worry about attacking that person. And we know that all ahead of time, as opposed to just web blasting someone in a pub and no one knows who it was and someone was already beaten on them and you're splitting damage.
Which is interesting. They actually added more art so that Web Blast gives the shape of what the character is now a little bit. So no longer Web Blast a Asmodan and he turns into a little tiny human.
I like that a lot.
But I only ever picked Web Blast when I am fighting heroes that have some sort of, sustain, like Vala. If she's going to do Rain of Vengeance, is it just or, triple tap? Like, those are great things to interrupt. And if you don't have an ETC or Diablo to just hit them out of it, Web Blast is king.
Yeah. I like it, man. I like it a lot. What I don't like, Arthas, his Frozen Tempest now costs 12 mana per second instead of 10. No.
Arthas has no mana trouble. He needs to get in line with the other warriors and at least have a
pro. I feel like I'm always running out of mana on him, but I realize I keep it up with Frostmourne Hunger is just fine, but I keep it up.
And you can
someone's gonna cap that piece of audio right there. I should not have said that. That was a poor choice of words. Asmodan. Moving forward.
We talked about earlier. Poor bound demon.
Yep. Chen, Wandering Keg, no longer grants a shield.
Yep. Whoa. Like, if you're a Chen player, pay attention because you no longer get any health when you go into a shield or into a keg.
Into a keg, yeah.
And I have seen so many Chen go charging in to realize they had the exact same health they did when they got in the keg.
That being said, the 3-spirit heroic still incites a deep, fiery rage in me when that Chen is almost dead.
That is 100% for me based on Dota. If I kill all of those pandas in Dota, the Brewmaster's dead. Here, you kill them all. Oh, there's Chen walking away. Might leap to something or drink some in your face.
Yeah, oh man, Chen. This is another hero that's really getting to me lately. No, but we talked about some of these, but let's go over it again real quick and talk about the changes that we haven't mentioned. Booster Shot has been renamed to Perfect Shot, because why not?
Way to go.
Hot Shots, the talent, has been renamed to Anti-Armor Shells. The damage bonus has been reduced from 330% to 300%. Yes, please. Thank you. Rewind was removed. We talked about that. And Snipe, her Q ability, the damage has been reduced from 120 plus 34 damage per level to 115 plus 31 per level. And I'm down with this. Bring it. No, but
she does what she should now.
Right. She still does a lot of damage. She's still the bane of my existence now as Jaina, and I still totally want to play her, and I don't regret buying her. So,
right, and someday there'll be that wonderful healer or hero for all you who got really good at Rewind to apply those skills once again. But I'm more than happy to take those shots to the face. Go, ow, okay, I deserve to die there. But here, things make sense. The world's a better place.
Yeah, this makes if you disagree, and it's beyond just, well, I really liked winning with Nova, I'd be curious to hear your thoughts. So feel free to email us, itncast@gmail.com. Stitches. He only had one change. His Vile Gas trait, the damage per second was decreased from 14 to 10. The +2 per level has stayed the same.
Oh, no. It speaks to me that Stitches is a very well-rounded character at the moment.
Yeah, no, I don't really, short of I hate it when I have to fight a good one and I am just eaten and taken away. I really don't have any complaints with Stitches. He behaves as I expect him to behave. Tyrael's Judgment ability, the damage has been reduced from 125 plus 10 per level to 60 plus 8 per level.
Yeah.
This is a huge freaking nerf. Holy crap.
Is okay. And the Tyraels I've talked to this week have been okay with it because really they just like the range and the engaging power of the stun and the dash. The damage was never really the reason they took the talent.
Right. No, exactly. Tyrande, the Empower talent, now instantly reduces cooldowns by 2 seconds rather than cooling down by 4 seconds over a 2-second period.
That's just confusing. Thank you for simplifying.
Thank you very much. I don't like this much math. And Shadowstalk has had its cooldown increase from 50 to 70 seconds. Again,
putting it over that minute mark, making it a bit more situational.
Absolutely. Also, one thing, if you're new to the game and you're leveling from level 1, Shadowstalk is now the locked out heroic. And why do I keep forgetting the name of this? Starfall is now the one you have access to right away, which I think made complete sense. Yeah. When I don't understand why they did that. Shadowstalk is definitely has a steeper learning curve to know when to use it correctly.
Right, exactly.
Until you hit level 20 and you get the bonus, the increased damage bonus when you Shadowstalk, then you should just be using it all the time you're killing something.
Sure, but yeah, if you don't have the map awareness to pull it off and you're not in voice chat, it's pretty worthless.
It's really rough. And Starfall, it's not saying it's like a dumb talent that's for noobs. It's a really good talent, and if you know when to use it correctly, you can really shift the fight. So, Uther's Holy Light, the heal amount's been reduced. I'm going to stop saying numbers unless they're a huge thing because it's arbitrary.
Yeah.
Holy Radiance, the Gathering Radiance talent, the damage and healing bonuses for each target hit are no longer separate. And it now increases damage and healing by 5% for each target hit, retaining its previous 50% maximum. So it's not all bad on Holy Radiance.
It's basically an exploit that's been fixed. It used to be that if you hit enough targets with this, it had a 50% maximum, but it would get pretty fudged by the end of it.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. So it's working as intended now.
Yes.
And then Zagara, Infest, now heals the target to full health and now has a 15-second duration.
So sad.
Yeah. If you're Kyle and you want a giggle fit. And the Creep Tumor, she now regenerates a flat 1.5 health per second while on Creep, and the Reconstitution talent still increases health regeneration on Creep by 300%, bringing it up to 4.5 health per second. So,
again, removing a lot of math and complexity and hitting that C button going, now, what do I have with these percents? What's my passive and now augmented? So whenever you're on Creep now, it is always going to be 1.5.
Yep. Which is great. I like that. You want to talk about this fixed exploit in Nazebo?
Yeah, Nazebo, it used to be with Voodoo Ritual, your passive ability, and then you could augment at level 1 for Death Ritual, which whenever you killed something, you would get 4 more permanent health and 2 more permanent mana. And it used to affect summoned lane units like Asmodans, or more importantly, units that killed themselves when they died, like a fellow Nazebo. So 2 Nazebos fighting each other in lane would actually kind of enter this gentleman's agreement where the 2 would pop zombie walls in front of each other. They would both auto attack as many as they could, and then suddenly have a whole bunch of bonus health.
Oh my god. That's kind of awesome. I mean, it's bad and shouldn't be in the game, but that is, can we just agree for a second, Kyle, that's a little bit awesome?
It's pretty funny, and it was hilarious to watch the lamenting witch doctor I played with last night, who was like, hang on, I want to switch lanes to be with the other Nazebo. And we're all like, no, dude, it's gone. What? What?
I love the idea of two witch doctors meeting each other in lane, tipping their headdresses to each other, and then just
oohing their lives away.
oh!
Yep.
Exactly.
This one's for you.
Exactly. Other exploits that were fixed. Falstad can't fly anymore when he's under root effects, thank God.
Yes.
And Zeratil's Void Prison now pauses rather than cancels channeled abilities. In your face, Zeratul. I hate Void
Which was
Prison.
really frustrating with, something like Lightning Breath, which I never take anymore. But should I have?
Yeah.
An ability that says on the text that you're unstoppable was no longer unstoppable.
That's a good point. I never thought of that. And then our final big change is Tassadar. He's been reworked quite a bit.
Yeah, and this is pretty interesting, really. I feel like this comes a lot from his use in the BlizzCon invitationals.
Oh, you're probably right.
And also because, the other thing that really interests me that why they would target Tassadar in the same patch that they would affect Nova is that he's probably been picked a ton over the last 2 months or so because of Nova's problems. And now we're seeing something like, his Oracle trait being reduced by a whole 2 seconds.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
Nova actually kind of got a buff back with her cloak and is not such a hard counter by Tassadar in the first place.
Okay. I mean, he still has it. I mean, it's not lasting as long.
Yeah, I mean, 7 to 5 seconds. That's a little rough.
Yeah, I mean, it's still, I don't know. I mean, it's still a very good piece of utility.
Sure. And, the talents, they augmented, so they're a little better. The one that increases your movement speed when you do it, now you move faster. Or you can the talent that reduced its cooldown reduces it more. But it's just real interesting that they would target Tassadar here in this particular patch. And they've also messed with something like Psystorm, decreasing the range of it. Now, I love the changes they've made to Psy Infusion, which is when you hit the number of people you hit with your initial targeting of the spell gave you mana back, and now it's up to 7. So you can basically, on a full lane of creeps, cast it 100% for free.
Oh,
but
I like
something like Second Strike that does, when you could cast it twice, you would have a 3-second duration to do that in. So you cast it, you could wait the full 3 seconds, which would allow you time to actually let the first one wear off and then cast it again. Now it's down to 2 seconds, so you have to use it in different areas rather than stacking it.
And how do you feel about that? Because I'm okay with that.
I think it's cool to encourage that style of play. I certainly loved it. Big old pile of minions. I would be missing out if I didn't take that 2.5 seconds to wait around and make sure I cast at the last moment, so I got the perfect stack.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I like encouraging these different types of play, like you said. What about Void Shift? It's got some talent changes. Deep Shift was just a duration increase. It's pretty significant, 0.75 to 1.5.
That's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, you go in there for 1.5 seconds, and you used to be able to augment it up to 2.5. Now you're going a full 3. Like, you are invincible and invisible for 3 full seconds if you talent into it.
Oh, man, that's going to make me just rage.
There's some good choices in there. So that's normally not when you augment your Void Shift. You take it later on, particularly with the one that regens health when you're in there. I love that thing.
Yeah. Okay.
And Archon got a duration reduction of 3 seconds. And when you're thinking Archon, that only lasts 15 seconds, I can't get that much done anyway. Down to 12 seconds. I mean, you get a shield, so it gives you some health basically in a shield form. But really, I mean, you're using this to engage, to push, usually not when someone's already on top of you, like a Tychus Odin. I mean, you're stuck transforming for that entire animation. It's basically what should have been happening in the Power Rangers when they were spending forever. The bad guy should have just punched him in the gut, like you do with Tychus.
Right. No, this is a little rough for Archon. I mean, it's gonna up the skill curve. You're gonna have to know exactly when to pop it. So having good coordination and, I don't know, planning your team fight properly, it's gonna, I don't know. Like I said, I think it's gonna shift the skill curve on Tassadar.
So the thing to take away from this rework is all the talents, including Conjurer's Pursuit, at level 1 as Tassadar are all now amazing. And it's going to be a really tough pick. And also Tassadar was reworked so he is not such a hard counter to Nova by losing that Oracle duration and the Psystorm range, which allowed him to, target that Nova in a bush or that Nova over there that was just out of reach. And now she is out of reach. And maybe, they're encouraging some prism, the wall, the summonable wall thing that no one picks.
Force wall.
Yeah, because you have to be awesome or already winning to use it.
Right. I'm not against the Oracle changes. I think it's still really good. I think this is going to... Because how many times have we been in the game, Kyle, and we're like, I know there's a Nova dancing around in those bushes over there. I keep trying to hit it with my skill shots. I'm missing. So you're still going to be able to capitalize off of that. If your teammates are communicating with you and you're like, listen, I know there's a Nova right here. I just don't know exactly where. Could you pop Oracle, please? You're going to benefit from that.
Right, and also when you can mount up in those 2 extra seconds, I used to do things as wacky as pop it, mount, and then ride through the woods looking for people. So now that 2 seconds of mounting has been taken away from me, and that may have been the full exploit they were looking to die.
That's very possible. It'd be interesting if they could have just made it like cancel if you mount or something.
Yeah, that'd be sad.
Keep the duration, but
speaking of mounting, they've actually added a mount tab for all the heroes that do not have mounts now. So when you select someone like Asmodan, it has fiery feet.
Yep.
Red. So I'm looking forward to what kind of changes come down the lane for those heroes who...
Maybe you'll get green fire.
Yeah, something.
Like rainbow fire. Star-Spangled Banner for the 4th of July. Who knows?
Right. Or maybe I finally get my hedonism bot. My litter carrying my fat ass across the board.
Oh, man, that would be so dope. I would be 100% for that. I support that entirely. I would vote for it. So, anyways, let's that's the changes we wanted to talk about. There were even more. Go check out the full patch notes over on the official site. Let's take a couple of emails to end the show. And I didn't find my bumper ahead of time.
Darkness stopped calling.
I hear the wilds call. Wait, nature calls.
Okay, tell them I'm not here.
You can send your emails to itncast@gmail.com. Our first one today comes to us from Beckett, who already has a Jaina strat for us that he wants to talk about. And he says, hey, dudes, I just want to talk about Jaina, who has this insane combo. At level 1, you can get a talent called Deep Chills, which slows enemies by 35% when hit with her passive. At level 4, what was that?
I'm on board. Continue.
Oh, okay. At level 4, you can get Arcane Intellect, which draws 2 cards. Wait, no. It refunds 25 mana on hit with abilities. Well played, Beckett. Well played. All right. I like where you're going with this. At level 7, you can get Ice Lance, which reduces the cooldown of Frostbolt by 2 seconds if it hits a chilled target. This means that you can permanently slow an enemy by 35% and have 5 mana Frostbolts every 2 seconds. It's why Jaina is my new favorite hero. Now, if you'll excuse me, Kyle, I'm ending the show right here, and I'm going to go try this build.
Oh, have you not done this?
I have not done this yet.
This was the first thing while I'm reading through it. It's just simple math. It's just, well, wait a minute. Like, I can actually cast these every 2 seconds, chasing Arthas, dumbass Arthas across the board for 5 mana a cast. Granted, you are missing out on those talents that make it easier to hit with Frostbolt, like increasing the range and making Frostbolt go through multiple targets. So you have to be really good at hitting someone in the first place, and they have to be pre-chilled.
I am okay with this.
Yeah, so there's still some skill involved, but absolutely, this is badass.
Yeah, thank you for sending this in, Beckett. I'm very excited to try it, and I will report back to you next week with my opinions. So, we also got an email from Dave who writes, "Hey Garrett and Kyle, I don't think that needing 10 heroes unlocked to play ranked will be effective." This is in reference to our last episode where we talked about competitive ranked draft mode.
Yes,
because you're going to need to have 10 heroes unlocked. And all past level 4, right? And you need to be level over 40 on your account. Am I remembering everything correctly?
Yep, no, that's all correct.
You got it. Seriously, was having a hard time pulling that out from a 2-week break and a lot of turkey and alcohol from Thanksgiving.
And, 2 other games that came out during that time. It's been a while.
A little bit. Anyway, Dave continues on. He said, I like to be a team player, and so we'll try. I will try to have at least one of each hero type that I can play, e.g. in League of Legends, tank, support, jungle, AD, and AP carry. But I like to play range support, so I might have 2 of these characters that I'm really good with. That's still only 7 characters. Most people, like the ones with golden heroes in Hearthstone, only play 1 or 2 characters, so they will have to pay the 10 hero tax, but will just go back to their mains and not be able to pick up and play any of these. Let me know if you disagree, and keep up the great show, Dave.
That's a great way to put it. The tax. Because you know what? I'm thinking when draft comes out, if they keep this mode, everyone's gonna own things like Muradin, 2,000 gold. Raynor, 2,000 gold.
That's true, but I feel like Dave's missing a really key point in the design of this, which is there's not enough heroes. And you can't have duplicates. So if you have 9 other people picking
who all
from
have the same exact heroes as you, it can be a problem.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
If you go in and your teammates have the same 2 dudes you have, what are you going to do?
Yeah, that definitely sounds like a hole in the logic. There were a couple that we pointed out last time.
I thought we brought that up because I'm pretty sure and I'm trying not to come down on this game. I love this game. I love it so much. I play so much of it. But I feel like I brought up last week that the pay per hero model was rearing its ugly head when I was reading the description of how ranked draft was going to work, because there are all of these bullet points there's ranked draft, but you need to have 10 heroes, and you need to be level 4, at least level 4 with all of them, and you need to be ranked, or level 20 on your account overall, which not an issue for you and I. We played plenty, but if you're just getting in and you have a lot of MOBA experience and you just want to get in, you want to play a damn draft, that's a hell of a barrier to entry.
Well, in particular, when draft is supposed to be super serious land where you're going to play your best guy, or at least the top 3 you're comfortable with.
Right, exactly. I don't know. It's just how this game's going to be until there's an obscene amount of heroes. And even that is still a concern.
You don't want to make it overcomplicated to a point where, let's play draft. But first, let's all go into the menu. Let's all select the 3 heroes you're comfortable with. And then let's wait for it to search out and find a group that we're competing against that is able to line up with everything we have. Maybe they just don't want to work in those metrics to that degree, but they have to. In the first place with the 10, they're just making it a little easier on the system.
Yeah. No, I'm sure. I feel like it probably won't be as bad when this actually gets implemented. I'm sure they're going to try their best to gamify it or add some type of UI element where it's obvious and it looks like something you're working towards, as opposed to just I hope it's just not grayed out. I hope there's 10 hexagons, because I love their hexagons. They're all around in the circle and they light up for every hero. If you have 2 heroes unlocked, 2 of them are lit up and the other 8 are grayed out. I don't know, but something where it looks like I'm working towards it, at least sugarcoat it for me.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but
we'll have to see. From their point of view, this probably looks like a really big issue. From us, we're just seeing infinite heroes basically, and it'll iron itself out eventually.
Right. No, clearly. Oh, sorry, I bumped my mic like I hate doing. Clearly they're thinking about it because all of these restrictions are in place. They're aware of the fact that, hey, if we just let this thing go live, there's going to be people that have 2 heroes, and this isn't going to work.
Right. Well, and they just ran a big tournament too, and they saw a lot of Arthuses and repeat Tassadars and those sorts of things.
Oh, absolutely. There's a decent amount of heroes at this point that I'm comfortable playing. Off the top of your head, Kyle, who are you comfortable playing?
Competitive? If I had to throw down?
If you have to throw down.
Yeah, Tychus, Diablo, Asmodan.
So you only have 3, okay.
Yeah.
See, I feel good with Arthas. I feel good with Brightwing, Tyrande, Zagara, and that's where I start to stutter. So I've got 4 off the top of my head. Vala. I'm decent with Vala.
Sure, well, I think everyone could play Vala.
Hey.
Right. There certainly are exceptions I could make in a rough spot.
Yeah, so there's 5 off the top of my head that I'm comfortable playing. So I'm halfway there of being a competent draft player.
Right, and I wouldn't be horribly upset if I got forced into into an Arthas situation.
Yeah,
and I play a lot of Tassadar, but he doesn't come to mind when someone Super Smash Bros is me. And it's like, yo, dude, let's throw down. Let's meet in the middle. We're gonna make a custom game. You and I meet in the middle of a map. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah. Of course, if we want to talk Smash Brothers, I prefer 1 versus 1, no items, so I always get to pick who I want to play.
Oh, not even beams? Okay.
If I'm having a party, man, yeah, no. 4 players, or now I guess you can play 8 if you have this new Wii U version, which I'm very excited about the prospect of, only I have no friends that live near me anymore.
Well, I'm coming down in March, so if you happen to own a Wii U by then, I'm not contributing any controllers or anything, but I will be most happy.
It's highly unlikely that I will have a Wii U by then.
Well, then we shall dust off an old console, perhaps.
There you go. Well, my Wii is still hooked up, and I believe Brawl is still in the slot because I don't think I've ever played anything else on that console.
Good. Oh, you mean you didn't participate in Link archery training?
No, I take that back. I did play Skyward Sword. That game's amazing, but nonetheless, any Prime Zelda game is going to be amazing.
Yeah, sure. It's a formula at this point.
More or less. They mix it up a little bit. Anywho, thank you for your emails, guys. Again, you can send your emails to itncast@gmail.com. That's going to do it for this week's episode. I feel winded, man. That was a lot of changes to talk about. You look at our bullet list, and it's like Jaina, Stimpak's new patch.
Not too bad.
We can get through that. And then you hit the patch, and you're just like, holy crap.
Well, it's one of the fascinating things about strategy games and MOBAs is just how interconnected every change can be, and that's why I love doing this.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It's a lot of fun, man. As always, want to thank those of you who are supporting us over at patreon.com/ITN. That is where you can go to opt in and subscribe to the podcast. $1, $2, however much you want. So thank you all very much. We're approaching our $500 goal. We'll start doing after show games every single week. Not just once a month, which even has been hard to hit during these holiday times, but we're trying to get them out. I feel like we've played with plenty of patrons, but we haven't streamed it and made it official.
That's true.
Yeah.
Again, I mean, join A-Move TV in the chat channel if you have the game, because that's honestly where all the games happen. Right.
And just to reiterate, if you are in Heroes of the Storm, you hit enter to enter a chat command. You do /join space AMOVE-TV. You'll join the A-Move chat room. And there's always folks in there hanging out and putting together teams, and I love it. So keep them coming, keep joining, and get them going in the EU servers and wherever else it's going on. So
and sadly, let me take this opportunity to say some video game etiquette. Send a whisper first before you send the invite. I do try, I check my friends list, and then I who in the chat channel to see if you're in there. But for the most part, just let me know what you're inviting me to.
Yeah. With games like this, and it happened with StarCraft 2. My friends list fills up quickly with a dude I played a game with once. And
with the friend bonus, too. I mean, that's right. Encouraging that practice.
Exactly. So, I tend to... I'm sorry if I forget. I'm notoriously awful with names, and I apologize. And I'm even worse when it comes to internet land where no one's name makes any sense.
Don't even enter Steam World where people change their names every 2 days.
Oh. Don't get me started. When someone I pay a lot of attention to on Twitter changes their avatar, it destroys my world.
Their picture, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who are you people?
What do you want? But anyways, thanks again to the patrons. This week, I wanted to thank the following patrons. Thank you to William I. and Eagle Scout, where the A is a 4. You have supported multiple shows that I do, so thank you very much, Eagle Scout. And also, if you're leaving us reviews on iTunes or whatever podcatcher you use, thank you very much. We have a new one in the North American iTunes store, but it's from an old friend and fan of ours, Mr. V.O. Quasar from Florida. Quasar, dude, thank you for your review. I love that you are still around listening to these two morons talk about whatever show they happen to enjoy discussing.
Aw, shucks.
Yeah, met you at my very first esports event, which was MLG Orlando. Ooh.
Sporting that bandana.
Memories. He was also sporting a StarCast shirt, which was dope.
Yeah.
Rocking the bandana that matched the blue StarCast shirt. So There you go. Into the Nexus is produced by A-Move TV and our Patreon producer, Declan H. Thank you, Declan. You can see more about this and all of the shows that we do over at amove.tv. Check out, again, join the chat channel in Heroes of the Storm. It's the best way to talk with us. And we're both pretty active on Twitter, too. Twitter's a good way to get our attention. We record live every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/amovetv or on alphageekradio.com. All of our past VODs can be found at youtube.com/starcastshow. As well as we've got some VODs up there of us playing the game. So if you want to hear me cuss the paint off the walls while Kyle just goes, it's not that bad, dude. We can still come back from this. That's where you can find those. Or sometimes we stream them here on twitch.tv/amovetv. Kyle, speaking of YouTube, you wanted to do a quick shout out.
Yes, I've mentioned it a couple times across the episode, but Ahmad on YouTube made the comment that he has logged over 200 plus hours on multiple Witch Doctors, including being part of the seasonal leaderboards this past season, and Plague of Toads is the madness. And I need to recognize, and I do recognize, I looked it up. I looked up both SMK and Reno Flayers builds, and it is, I get it. Like, you have your Sycophants generators. The multi-hit is incredible. Man. So I've been playing, I love my Spirit build because I feel special, but I have been doing it so wrong for so long. So thank you for letting me know.
Awesome. And also, just big thanks to everyone who comments over on, on like random hiccup out of nowhere, who comments on the YouTube, because honestly, a lot of it is really good constructive feedback, or it's building on the topics that we're talking about. I've seen maybe 2 total asshats in the history of the YouTube channel, which is just unheard of. So thank you all very much for your constructive criticism and actually talking about things that are on topic. We really appreciate it. So follow the show on Twitter at ITNcast. And big thanks to Brian Griffith. He's actually the musician who made our intro music, and you can see his work at briangriffithmusic.com. Kyle, where can people find you when you're not doing this show?
Oh, you can find me at Twitter at Kyle Ferguson, which we broke 800. Thank you, everybody.
Get him to 1,000, damn it. What are you doing, people? Jeez.
I know. We need to stop celebrating this. People need to keep their eyes on the goal.
It is Kyle Ferguson. Do you know how amazing this man's voice is?
You can also find me on A-Move Radio, which we are recording a new episode tomorrow, full of, well, Dragon Age for me. Certainly Star Wars will probably be a major topic.
I feel like Dragon Age is going to get stomped a little bit by the WoW and Star Wars talk.
It's okay.
Because only one of the 3 of us has played Dragon Age, and all 3 of us give a hoot. I mean, not to say I don't give a hoot about Dragon Age. I just don't feel like spending $60 right now.
Sure.
I really want to play it. I just don't.
Yeah. That's fine. In
Christmas.
2 months, you'll be where I am, and I'll be like, you kids.
Yeah, it'll be. It's like I'm reading. I'm going through the Dresden Files right now, as I have been all year. And I've been having that reaction all year. It's like, oh man, I just read the Dresden Files. Oh really? I love that book. And they start talking about the brand new one. I'm like, no. Whoa, hold up. I'm on like book 4.
Yeah, I've done that and then I've like texted the person who told me to read it, like, oh my god, the bad guy's quote, blah 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 blah, was so awesome. And they're like, I don't even remember that anymore. I read that when I was a child. I just said it was good. And you're like, damn it. I'm such a loser. I'm so far behind.
Oh yeah.
Also, check out KyleFerguson.com, where I have transformed part of the site over to my adventure writings for Dungeons & Dragons, a wonderful hobby and rather professionally done work of mine, and I am excited to share it with everyone in the future.
I think you should open commissions to write people's adventures.
I'd be more than happy to.
I think that would be so awesome. I mean, I don't know. Kyle, by the way, if you guys ever have the chance to have Kyle DM a game of any role-playing game, take it. Drop what you're doing, run, and take it, because it's an amazing experience.
Well, thank you. I'm DMing this weekend. I'm going to try to kill everyone by drowning them with a water elemental. It'll be a strange delight.
Oh, delightful. Absolutely delightful. I feel like it's only as good. I got a real special treat because I got to play with you DMing for the first time with someone who had played with you many, many, many times in college and knew your diabolical schemes.
Yeah, knew what buttons to press, kind of how my levers and contraptions work, and so it wasn't such a a lost experience.
Makes me imagine like Indiana Jones walks into the temple in the beginning of Raiders of the Lost Ark and just goes, "I know these traps. This is a Ferguson design."
Yeah, I've seen this movie before. It's a real shame though that I'm not closer, because a long campaign where you're falling in love with those characters and taking the time to enjoy them, man, there's nothing quite like that. And then having that Avatar Last Airbender bad guy way out in the distance, but you're level 5. You're not going to get to him, but you do in 2 years. Oh, so good.
Yep. Dope as hell, man. You can find me on the internet. I am on Twitter at Garrett Art. There's 2 R's and 2 T's in the name Garrett, not 1 T. But there is 1 R and 1 T in art. So check that out. I can also be found at nomoonart.com. That's my graphic design portfolio. Check it out if you need a graphic designer or if you just want to see the things I've worked on. There's a decent amount of work over there. And check out The Angry Chicken, a Hearthstone podcast, as well as Overwatchers, a podcast I'm doing with Mr. Patrick Beja from France right now. And it's about Overwatch, Blizzard's new FPS that we can't play yet. So it's a mini-series. We're going to record the last of 4 episodes next week, and it's going to be a mailbag. So if you want to get your email in, go listen to the most recent 3 episodes. You'll get the email. You'll understand what we're talking about, what we're looking for as far as questions, and send them in. Fill up our 4th and final episode until we go on hiatus, until we can actually play the game. Check it out.
Which is sooner than we think, apparently.
I hope so. I really want to play that game. Not that I don't have already an obscene amount of games to play.
No, I feel like I'm practically scheduling out my game time right now.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I need to, man. I'm like setting like a time budget. It's just like, well, I have this, that, and the other actual responsibility to take care of. I've got, like today, I had like 45 minutes to stream building an arena deck in Hearthstone and playing 2 games. I'm like, all right, let's do this. Go. Hi, chat room. Cool. All right. I lost. I won. Cool. Fun. Bye. And that was it. And then it was dinner and chores and other stuff before this show. So
power gaming. Maybe you need a Stim pack.
No, I don't. Anyways, check out doghousesystems.com and tweakedaudio.com. Just because we don't advertise them at the top of the show anymore doesn't mean these codes aren't just as awesome. The code ITN will get you double memory over at doghousesystems.com on any of their systems. So you want 8 gigs of RAM? Boom, 16 gigs of RAM, which I have in my Doghouse system, and I'm so happy that I did that. So go check them out. And also over at tweakedaudio.com, that same code ITN will get you 30% off plus free shipping on your entire order of noise-reducing earbuds from them. So go support the folks that support us. Check out their websites. And we hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Into the Nexus. We'll be back next week for episode 31. Good luck and have fun.
Take care.